It's been weeks since President Trump announced U.S. Circuit Justice Brett Kavanaugh as his Supreme Court nominee. And since then, Kavanaugh has been making his way through Capitol Hill, meeting with senators, including Georgia Senator Johnny Isakson. The latest in the trade war between Beijing and the U.S. is $60 billion worth of American goods. And while some Republican senators have already publicly criticized President Trump's trade war, many of the Republicans are staying true to the administration. A student tweeted, "Another thing for those who like me who are #angry at the Theta Tau video. Sometimes I confuse justice with vengeance." This was tweeted after the meeting in Hendricks Chapel. Total student loan debt is nearly $1.5 trillion. Sally Mae reports nearly 70% of people eliminate college due to the cost.
Sometimes feel like I can't breathe, like I'm losing breath.
It's a feeling that happens too often for 14-year-old Bryson Bird. He loves playing basketball, but sometimes it's hard.
Every day, you know, he takes a Zyrtec or whatnot, and in South Carolina, I mean, pollen is thick. I mean, it's heavy, and the seasons for pollen are a lot longer now.
It's not just pollen that's the problem.
It took us a little while to figure out that he was really asthmatic, but once we figured it out, we were able to get him on a routine.
Bryson's problems go beyond his allergies. It's the quality of the air around him.
So the question is, what can we do?
The Bird family wants to see laws in South Carolina change. So they came to Washington, D.C., hoping that lawmakers would listen. The event gave parents the opportunity to speak up for their children. In a show politicians, what's at stake?
Amazing to see all the children that are here as well, because after all, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're fighting to keep our air clean, not only for this generation, but for future generations to come.
The Birds say it's not about politics.
Again, it's not about party lines. I mean, it's not Democrat, Republican. I mean, it's about, just doing the right thing for our kids' future.
In Washington, D.C., Mye Owens, WSAV News 3.
It's time for us to have a Congress that represents the people. Women are half of the population, so why aren't we represented?
If there's one way to describe 2018, it would be that women are making a statement when it comes to government.
So it's more important than ever that women stand up and run for office.
The surge of women candidates in 2018 featured a panel that gathered to discuss this issue.
The single reason that we don't see more women in politics is because not enough women traditionally want to run.
According to a New York Times article, if every woman candidate made it into the House of Representatives, men would still outnumber women by nearly 2 to 1. But despite this figure, some view it as a step in the right direction.
Eventually, we will have a Congress that directly reflects the population of this country.
100 people serve in the U.S. Senate, and only a quarter of them are women. Although gender was the central theme today, ethnicity in women candidates is equally important.
2016, women of color were 20% of all the women's Senate nominees. Today, none of the women's Senate nominees are women of color.
Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams was one of the highlights in the discussion as panelists look towards her as the standout in this year's election cycle. In Washington, D.C., Mye Owens, WSAV News 3.